Start.
The whole lesson plan.
Tell the topic. At least the methodology.
See, I'll repeat once more. Those who are going to present, they will discuss that this lesson plan is for which class, which subject, which topic, and what is the learning objective, what are you expecting for it, what is your strategy of teaching, what is the pedagogy you are going to use, what are the assessment plans, and the learning points.
ठीक है सर.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Agast Kumar. Here, Monica, I am going to express about the lesson plan regarding the class 10. Subject is biology, and the chapter is life process. Now,
Good afternoon, everybody. So we are going to deal the topic life processes. The learning objective, because this is the introductory part of the chapter. So the learning objective will be, the students will be able to define the term life process, identify the importance of life processes, and they will be able to list out the different life processes. The teaching aids will be green board, chalk, digital board, textbook, that is NCERT book. Teaching methodology will be by asking questions. Introduction. Now, the teacher will introduce the question with a simple question, what is biology? So as expected, the students will say, it is a branch of science that deals with life. So then the teacher will tell, means to sustain life, there are many reactions which takes place inside the body, or many processes which takes place inside the body. These processes are called as life processes, because without these processes, there will be no life. Then she will define the definition that life processes are those processes which help any living individual to sustain life on the earth. For example, then she will ask the question that, do you think any living organism can survive without food? So obviously the students will say no. So each and every living organism needs food. So then she will ask, without food, nobody is going to survive. And we know that the process of taking food and utilizing it is called as nutrition. Nutrition is what? Just taking of food and utilizing that food for many purposes, for growth, energy, repair, and so on. So this process is known as nutrition. And without nutrition, life cannot be sustained on earth. So nutrition is one of the...
You are going to use lecture demonstration method?
Question answers.
Ma'am, this much is not needed. What is the instruction type? What are the assessments?
Yes, sir.
Not the content.
So the methodology will be by asking questions. Like in between, the teacher will ask questions. What is this? Nutrition कैसे मतलब nutrition?
Question answer method.
हाँ, question answer method. Then yes, the questions are written here only. In the lesson plan, the questions are written. Like the teacher asks, without food, can we survive? The students will say no. That means, and taking of food is what? Nutrition. That means nutrition is what? It is a life process. Similarly, the food, why food is required? Then she will ask the second question, why food is required? Student will say, for getting energy. So how this energy comes, or how do we get energy? Then the student will say respiration. So from here the teacher will conclude that respiration, without respiration life cannot take place. So respiration is another life process. So in this way the teacher will keep on asking questions and the students will keep on answering, and they will, but the concept will be given to the students. Then she will recapitulate by asking the following question. What is life process? List out the various life process and what is the importance of life process. अब ये इससे रिकैपिचुलेशन हो जाएगा, then उसके बाद वो इवैल्यूएशन करेगी और इवैल्यूएशन में वो डायरेक्ट द टीचर इज नॉट आस्किंग डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन कि व्हाट इज न्यूट्रिशन और व्हाट इज लाइफ प्रोसेस. शी इज आस्किंग व्हाई रेस्पिरेशन इज कंसिडर्ड एज अ लाइफ प्रोसेस, व्हाई रिप्रोडक्शन इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज अ लाइफ प्रोसेस. तो इस तरह से टीचर कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि वेदर द कॉन्सेप्ट व्हिच शी हैज गिवन is achieved by the students or not. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
आर्यभट्टा, मैं एक बार और आपसे कहता हूँ, जब आप प्रेजेंट करने जाएं तो इस बात का ध्यान रखें कि आप टॉपिक बता रहे हैं, क्लास बता रहे हैं, सब्जेक्ट तो बता ही रहे हैं आपको, आपका लर्निंग टीचिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, इस क्लास का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, कौन सी पेडागोजी या कौन सा मेथड आप यूज करने जा रहे हैं और आपका लर्निंग आउटकम क्या होने वाला है, असेसमेंट क्या, दैट इज इतना ही इसमें. लेकिन हाँ, इसको स्ट्रक्चर्ड वाइज इतना ही बता देना, बता के निकल लेना. जैसे ये बात का ध्यान रखें, अगर कोई सब्जेक्ट पहला बार टॉपिक कर रहा है, वो सब्जेक्ट वो चैप्टर का पहला टॉपिक, ठीक है ना, तो उसमें आपको जैसे फर्स्ट वो चैप्टर का पहला टॉपिक है तो वो क्वेश्चन आंसर से उसको नहीं कर सकते. अगर चैप्टर का फर्स्ट टॉपिक ही आपका आप आज डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं तो उसको आप क्वेश्चन आंसर से 9-10 के लेवल पर नहीं कर सकते. उसके लिए आपको स्ट्रेटजी अपनी बनानी है.
रिकैप करके कर सकते हैं पीछे.
ओके, सो द नेक्स्ट आर्यभट्ट ग्रुप you are doing okay. So Ramanujan, please.
Good afternoon everyone, we are Ramanujan group and we are here to present the lesson plan made by our group. So this is the lesson plan that is of class 10 and subject is biology, chapter is life process and the subtopic is respiration. So I'll invite ma'am to explain the lesson plan in brief.
Thank you everyone. I wish very good afternoon to one and all present over here. So this lesson plan includes one of the topics of life processes which is given in biology for class 10th. The topic is respiration. It is one of the topics of life processes only. When this topic is going to be taught in class, obviously there is one specific purpose. There is an objective for what it is going to be taught. So if I'm going to take this class or I'm going to teach this topic to my students, my specific purpose will be to make them aware of the whole process of respiration, its utility, how does it help us in getting energy after burning the food that we eat. So this is going to be my specific purpose of teaching this lesson. For teaching this topic, I will use certain teaching aids, like board will be there, my textbook will be there will be marker. And if I have prepared related teaching, learning, this TLM, what we call, some chart paper or some model, that will also be added here. Correct? Before starting the topic, I would like to assess their knowledge or have an idea, what do they know about some other topics of the previous topics of the life processes. So I can start by asking some of the questions like, what are a few characteristics of living beings? What do you understand by nutrition, or why do we eat food? I may get answer of some of the questions, I may not get answers of all the questions. So ultimately, when I find that they are getting stuck, what is the use of eating food, or how do we get energy by eating this food, I will introduce them with a specific topic being taught in class, and that will be respiration. Once the topic is started, my method will be explanatory, questionnaire method, means by asking question, by description, definition of respiration, their types, aerobic, anaerobic respiration, the sites where they are completed in the cells. Certain terms related to the topic will be explained to them. In between, no doubt, assessment will be carried on by asking one or two questions like what is known as the energy currency of the cell, where does aerobic respiration gets completed, what is the site of complete respiration likewise. And at the end of the chapter, when I find that yes, I have succeeded in my attempt to enhance their knowledge about this life process, I will give them a few questions to attempt, like what are the types of respiration, what do you understand by aerobic respiration, where is anaerobic respiration completed, or what is the full form of ATP, etc. So this is how my lesson plan will get completed. Thank you.
Yeah. Next group, please. Other team members follow him.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rajiv Upadhyay, and me and my colleagues are representing Team CV Raman over here. And this is the lesson plan for grade 8. The topic is microorganisms, friends and foe. And in this particular session, I will be, my fellow teachers, if they are given the chance, will be explaining the introductory part of this particular chapter, that is, what are microorganisms, where are they found, the discovery related terms and the contribution of different scientists, and last, the classification of various microorganisms. To explain this or to impart this particular knowledge, the resources used will be obviously board and chalk. NCERT textbook of science grade 8 will be there. Compound microscope I will use definitely. Permanent slides of amoeba and paramecium at initial level will be used by me. And chart paper showing some examples of microorganisms. The pictures of certain microorganisms will be there with me with the chart paper. The teaching learning strategies. If suppose that you all are students and I am your biology teacher, the very first question I would ask to all of you is, how many of you can count the number of living organisms present in this class? The students will definitely try to answer and they will raise their hands. Some will say 20, 25. Some will include me also in the living organism, thank God. Obviously, I am living. Then I will come to the conclusion, then I will explain them. No, there are certain living organisms also that are present in this particular classroom, almost everywhere, that are not visible to our naked eyes, and we need an aid, that is microscope. That means I will be using the verbal communication method. I will verbally explain the contents regarding the proper definition of microorganisms. Then I will proceed towards the occurrence of microorganisms by giving examples of several types of locations where they are found, including everywhere inside our body and outside our body also. After that, I will use my most important resource, that is compound microscope. I will preset the compound microscope and randomly select some of the students to just observe the living organism which are there in the permanent slides. So that initially I will show them the permanent slide, they will not be able to observe that particular microorganism, but when they will be kept under the microscope, they will be able to observe it. That clearly demonstrates why this particular terminology is used for the living organism, that is microorganisms. After that, students will be the learning objectives. The learning objectives for this particular session will be obviously the students will be able to understand what is the definition of microorganisms, their occurrence, the classification, and the various examples of microorganisms associated with it. Thank you so much. Who is the next one?
Aryavarta. Not yet done. ठीक है, next. चलिए.
Other members also join.
Everyone should go.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are Group 8, and the name of our group is Dr. Kalam. We have prepared class 10th physics lesson plan, and I'll be explaining you the key components of the lesson plan. The explanation will be done by sir. So what we have included here is the number of lectures that we are going to take in order to complete this lesson plan. I mean, in order to complete a particular topic of the chapter. So here it's mentioned the number of lectures that will be requiring is number 3. Then we have the name of the chapter. The topic is electricity, electric current and circuit. Initially, the key concept has to be written, which is what all things we are going to discuss in that particular topic. So that is the key concept. Then comes the learning objective. What are our objective? What do we want the students to learn, basically? So that is the learning objective, which will be the second part of the lesson plan. Then if we have, suppose here we have made it for physics, but then for any other subjects also, we can have the flowcharts or the diagrams. So that also needs to be mentioned in the lesson plan, that these are the diagrams of flowcharts that we'll be using. So that has been mentioned here. And then what strategy or methodology are we going to use in order to teach? So the methodology can be many. It all depends on the teachers, what kind of methods we use. As sir said, it can be a lecture method, it can be an interactive method, it can be one-to-one question and answer method. So there are a number of methods which I'm sure all of you must have studied in your B.Ed also. So that must be followed and should be written in a lesson plan, basically. Then comes the learning outcome, which is again very, very important. What after our objective, are we able to fulfill our objective? Have we been able to fulfill our objectives? So that should come under the learning outcome. So yes, that should be written, that yes, we expect our students to answer us back once we have taught about a particular topic. And of course, last but not the least, the resources that we have used. The resources could be any, that depends. Like here, the things that we have used is the NCERT book. Obviously, if you have a smartboard at your school, obviously that needs to be mentioned. And then, of course, the internet and everything, that has to be done. So overall, this should be the component of a lesson plan, and what all we have included here, sir will tell us, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my objective of teaching, my objective of this lesson plan is to make students aware about charge. How does charge, what are the properties related to charge, such as quantization of charge, conductivity, and its additivity. Then after, I will try to make them aware about electric current. What is electric current? How does flow of charge give rise to electric current? Then I will show them, I will make them aware about electric circuit, what are open circuits, what are closed circuits, what are various important basic components of a circuit. So these are my objectives, by which I will try to make clear outcomes that students should be aware. They should be aware of charge, how does it flow, and what is electric current, how to calculate it with the help of given charges. And just for example, let's say कि बचपन से हम लोग सुनते हैं कि aluminium has we write aluminium Al3+. So what does 3+ there mean? Is it loss of 3 electrons, or is it gain of 3 electrons, or how is electron involved over there? I will make them aware about it. Thank you.
Next one. Two more groups, no?
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Sumit Kumar Jha, group leader of Aryavarta, going to teach you the chapter like class 10, belong from class 10, chemistry chapter, that is chemical reactions. Basically, for that thing, first question was that what is the materials required, the natural resources. Basically, for that the teaching aids is marker, board, notebooks, etc. Now question is that what is the general outcomes, like what are the objectives for that? So basically, after reading that, student will develop interest in chemistry, student will be creative in chemistry, for that beware of definition, theories and all. Like for that specific objectives, after reading that, student will tell about chemical reaction, types of chemical reaction, in that combination reaction, decomposition reaction, apart from that subdivided thermal decomposition, electrolytic decomposition, photo decomposition, like displacement reaction and all. So that are the specific objectives after reading that chapter. Next, for that thing, how can I encourage that student? First of all, I will ask to that student, do you see rusting of iron? Student will clearly say, yes sir, I see. Because he belongs to class 10 chapter. In class 8, he already read this thing. Basically, he told me that yes sir, this is basically a chemical change. And chemical change involves chemical reaction. So that I will go for that. That is the previous knowledge which I am talking about. Next, in this chapter, I will tell you like what is chemical reaction, like how chemical reaction happens. Apart from that, like combination reaction means what? Not just going by doing lecture, not like that. Like taking one examples, like if I have two chalks, I will just combine it and show it, like this one. This is a type of combination reaction. If I am teaching decomposition reaction, how can I show? Just telling that a single product break into 2 or 3 substances? No. I basically